Hi everyone, welcome to Pisic now, and there wasn't much content last week, but don't worry, when videos aren't being uploaded, it's because they are being created and worked on, and I don't want to just crank out any old rubbish. I want to take the time and include the level of detail and quality that you are all used to. So don't worry, more videos coming soon. For today though, I've got a sort of update add-on video to do with Halide Mk II, because when I reviewed Halide, I did so on my iPhone XR. But since then, my iPhone 12 Pro has arrived, so of course I've been using Halide Mk II on that, and there are some key differences that I think you would be interested in. So if you are a Halide user and you're looking at the 12 Pro, then here are 3 key things that you need to keep in mind. The first one is how Halide looks. Notice anything different here? Halide looks warmer on the iPhone 12 Pro when compared to the XR. It's also got like a green tint to it, and it's not as bright as it should be. It may not be coming over as bad on the camera, but the iPhone 12 Pro should not look like this. And I'm not the only customer to report this. Now, as a photographer, my camera having like defective colors and screen brightness isn't ideal. And I want to go to the Apple store in person so I can compare my device to the devices they have on display and return it. But I can't at the moment because all of the Apple stores are closed. Thankfully then, Halide Mk II has the most accurate and comprehensive luminance and RGB guides to help me nail my exposure and my colors. This is thanks to Halide Mk II being the only camera app that can analyze 14-bit RAW live from the sensor. Others can only analyze 8-bit previews. Now this makes a massive difference to whether your images are correctly exposed or not, and I did go into some detail about this in my review. And having now used it even further since then and spent a lot more time comparing it to other apps, I can say that it's far more helpful than I initially thought. My exposure hasn't only been far more accurate, but I'm also able to shoot a lot faster as well, which is something I really appreciate because moments don't stop and wait for me to dial in my settings. I've also been shooting less because usually when I'm out shooting on my phone, I take multiple pictures just in case I've made a mistake and my exposure is off. But now with Halide Mk II, I don't have to because I know it's going to be right, and it has been. Next, I want to talk about stability because historically, for me at least, Halide has frequently shown errors and crashed. And I think the main reason for this is because it's maxed out the 2 GB of RAM on my iPhone XR. But since switching to the 12 Pro with its A14 Bionic chip and its 6 GB of RAM, one of the first things I noticed was just how much more stable Halide now is. Now it's not perfect. When it comes to depth mode, I have still got a couple of error messages, but using literally every other feature like coverage, instant RAW, and the 14-bit RAW visualization, and these are power and CPU intense hungry features, it's been perfect. Speaking of depth mode, the last thing I want to talk about is how it works differently. Because the iPhone XR only has a single lens, it calculates depth entirely in software, and Halide lets you use the manual controls as well, which I believe is a Halide exclusive. Literally every other app I've used hasn't allowed you to use the manual controls in depth or portrait mode. But as the 12 Pro has multiple lenses, it calculates depth differently and it opens up more shooting possibilities. Halide automatically switches to the telephoto lens when you activate depth mode, but you can switch back to the wide. But with the telephoto, the depth results do look more realistic thanks to its narrower field of view. But one caveat is that you lose access to the manual controls. To wrap up, the 12 Pro's hardware combines with Halide's advanced features to elevate each other. Halide's powerful exposure guides mitigate the 12 Pro's screen issue, while the 12 Pro's power help alleviate Halide's stability issues. And that's it for now. I've got my full Halide Mk II tutorial. I keep saying tutorial. My full Halide Mk II tutorial coming very, very soon. And I've also got reviews of Camera M, Focus, Obscura camera, and some cool Ulanzi hardware accessories as well. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay curious, and Aussie Buna. And that's it for now. What have I got?